Cool. So, for everybody watching, this is round two for Scott and I because I messed up the last time that we talked and did not record. I know that I am recording today, so we are good. Um, but Scott, fellow rock dad, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, a little bit about your music background and what it is that you're trying to do in music.
I started playing music when I was a teenager, 14, 15. I bought my first guitar, started actually taking lessons when I was, I think, 17. I started playing guitar with taking lessons. And then 6 or 8 months later, I switched over and started playing bass also, a little bit of guitar, a little bit of bass. Have been playing pretty much on and off ever since. Been in several local bands, that kind of thing. When I was right about 18, I think it was, I got a piano for a gift and I kind of started playing a little bit around with that, but never really took it very seriously. Had a few over the years here and there. Then a few years ago was messing around with the piano and came up with this kind of song riff idea. And I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. It sounds like it should be in a horror movie, opening credits, end credits, chase scene kind of thing. And from there, I just kind of had an idea like, wow, I don't want to be a rock star, but I want music to be my main source of income for me and my family. I don't want to be out on the road. I don't want to be away from my family for 2, 3 months at a time. But what can I do to make music a source of income for me? I was like, writing music for movies or maybe even video games would be ideal because I'd be able to do it from home. I'd be able to make a sustainable living off of it, and it would check off all the boxes that I'm looking for.
That's such a realization that I think more and more musicians kind of need to have is that, it's being in the music business is or being associated to being in the music business isn't just about, being on stage or even being on the road as part of a band or even as a roadie. I mean, there are a ton of different things that you can do just from home and still have a music career or a career in music. So I think that, kind of what you're going after is amazing, to be quite honest. Um, what are some of the roadblocks that you've run into trying to turn this passion for getting your music into horror movies and video games? What have been some of the obstacles that are preventing you from kind of getting to where you're wanting to be at this point in the journey?
Well, the first step I took, I had to come up with a game plan. What is my ideal long-term goal, and what kind of steps do I have to take in short-term progress to make that goal happen? Now, obviously, was the first. I had no experience with my own recording. I had recorded with some bands, in studios and stuff like that, but I didn't have a ton of experience recording. So I had to come up with do some research as far as recording equipment, what I could do cheap or free. And so I looked into that and I downloaded a free version of Audacity, which is a recording software on an old laptop I had from when I went to ITT Tech a few years ago. They had given me a laptop as part of my program. So I downloaded Audacity onto that and I watched a couple YouTube videos on basic functions and what to do and how to do it and just kind of started messing around and recording. So that was the first step. And then I had to think about, okay, what am I going to do to make sure my brand, or do I have to come up with my own label? Do I have to, what steps do I have to take to break into the business side of it, not just the music side of it? And that's really where I'm at right now, is kind of crossing my T's and dotting my I's and thinking about it as more of a business as opposed to the passion or having fun with just the music that I'm doing.
So the content creation is as time consuming as it can be. That's really not the problem right now. It's not a matter of a lack of ideas or anything. It's a matter of where's the distribution? How am I going to be able to get this music in front of people, right?
Yeah, pretty much that's at the stage I'm at right now. The music creation part of it, like you said, it's not necessarily easy, but it comes a lot easier than the business side of it because I've never been involved in any of that. I've never had really much experience with that. Even as bands, a lot of times other people would be dealing with promoters or, handing out flyers or doing all the business side of the band stuff. I never really was involved with much of that. The creation part of the music is the easy part.
To get in contact with, in the industry are, the music supervisors and the sound coordinators and, and all of that. But even getting to them can be difficult because, I mean, a lot of them aren't on LinkedIn. So you can't like just type in, show me everybody that's a music supervisor in the business. So what are some of the sort of avenues that you've gone down to try to make contacts in the business?
Well, I do have a friend of mine. I'm from the Albany, New York area originally, and he back in the 90s, I was one of the roadies for his band, and he decided he wanted to open his own recording studio. So I helped him do a little bit of basic construction and framing and stuff like that for his first studio. So I'm still in constant contact with him. I've been friends with him for since the 90s on and off. We didn't talk for a little while, but then several years ago I got in touch with him through Facebook and we started to build a rapport again, and he has a lot of contacts in the industry, and he's kind of told me that he can put me in the right direction of some people as far as logistics of lawyers and the people that I need to trademark and copyright names and things like that. And he does a lot of stuff with voiceover work at his studio, which is another avenue that I'm looking to possibly get into as a secondary front for not just recording movie music, but also maybe doing some voiceover work also.
I mean, that's just diversifying the portfolio, That's just
Yeah.
trying to utilize it as much as you possibly can. Um, in terms of extending your network, what are you looking to do? How are you looking to reach out to more people? Because this gentleman that you roadied for, I'm sure has a lot of contacts, but you can never have a network that's too big. What are some of the other ways that you're trying to get a hold of more people in order to get your music and your ideas in front of more people?
Um, Main avenues I've been taking so far at this point is just social media. People in my area, musicians, people involved in movies and low budget, localized movies. I'm going to be doing be an extra shooting in a movie in the end of October and possibly doing a little bit of music for that as well. So that could be a good first step into getting into the business, getting my name and my brand out there. And it's going to be shooting in the end of October. I'm not sure exactly when he's planning on releasing it, but that will be a good first step, I think, into getting an idea of what's going on and kind of seeing the realities of everything going on.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're actually in the business, that's the best, obviously the best place to be able to network.
Yeah.
When it comes to your infrastructure and how you've got your business set up right now, or even if it's in the earliest stages, like what do you see as the areas that, not from a networking standpoint, but just as an infrastructure standpoint, that you may need, like either help with, or what is the sort of next natural progression or next thing that you want to work on?
Well, really, aside from the networking, I just need to first of all, I have a few demos recorded, which I had
Okay.
sent to you after the last one. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to any of that or not. Um,
Not yet, but I plan on it. And I plan
okay,
on putting it on here and letting everybody else hear it as well.
perfect. And basically just creating more content, getting some more songs recorded. Time is a big issue, obviously, with working full time and having family and that going on. So I plan on trying to record as much as possible. I have a couple of songs already recorded and ideas, and then there's a couple more that I haven't done anything with that are recorded, but I still need to kind of mix down a little bit and kind of get together. But really, just creating content right now is going to be the big thing. So I have a little bit wider them to kind of draw from as far as, okay, you have 5 or 6 different ideas to get an idea to people what your brand is, what your sound is like, where your avenue is going.
So let's switch gears for just a second. Talk to me about Face of Horror. What is that exactly, and how is it that we can support you?
Face of Horror is a contest going on right now. And basically, it's done in section rounds. We just started. This is the first week of round one, and you get people. They can vote for free through Facebook once a day. And if you make it into the next round, it's the same thing. You can vote for free. There are options to buy votes, which I'm not asking anybody to do. I would never do that. But you can vote once daily for free through Facebook. And then the grand prize winner, whoever goes on and gets to be at the end, gets a $13,000 prize grant money, which is great. But the real cool thing about it is you get to do a pictorial interview with Kane Hodder, who was one of the stars of obviously of Jason.
Right?
He's been in plenty of other things too, but that's what he's most known
Yeah.
for. So
Wasn't
that's
he
really,
in Hatchet?
he's been in a lot of things. At this point, I can't remember the specifics of what
Okay,
he
no worries.
hasn't been in. Well, I know that's the big one that he's known for.
That is amazing. And Face of Horror, is it how did you get involved with it? Like how did you find out about it?
Facebook. I saw a thing on Facebook.
Okay.
I actually had seen it. They do this. I think it's every year they do this because I saw
Okay.
one. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. I saw that something similar where I think it was even with him. You got to do like a pictorial interview with him with the grand prize, and I think I entered it, but then I deleted the email, so I didn't get to move up in the ranks. I didn't make it through the first round. And then I saw it again a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to try and do that again.
Awesome. And they only do it once a year.
I believe it's once a year, maybe it's once every couple years. I've seen it
Okay.
before through Facebook, but I don't remember honestly how long ago it was. If it was last year, maybe it was even could have even been before COVID. It might have been a few years ago. I don't remember specifically, but this isn't the first time that I've seen it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get this recording up today, and we're gonna be able to link that Face of Horror webpage to it. And for everybody that's going to be seeing this, do Scott a favor, jump on there, cast your free vote for today. There's only 2 more days for round one.
Yep.
Let's get him up into that top tier. How many? What are they taking? The top five or whatever?
I can't remember. I think it's the top 2 or 3 out
Top
of
two or
each
three?
group. Yeah, I don't remember specifically. I would have to go back and look, but either way, I'm trying to be number one through the whole thing. So you got to
Absolutely.
have goals.
Of course, of course. Um, so thank you for that because you definitely want to get that out to everybody and get as many votes for as you possibly can within the Rock Dad group. Um, where how can this group support you with your music endeavor, with getting into horror movies and video games with your music or even with the voice acting? What are some things that we might be able to do, outside of course of voting in Face of Horror, but something on a little bit more permanent basis? Like are you looking to network with anybody in the group? What are you looking for?
I would love to network with anybody that, might have a good idea or a good lead or know somebody, even if it's not them specifically that has a connection. Maybe they might know somebody else that can push me in the right direction, get my music in front of people that, can put me in a position where this will start moving forward a little bit more.
Okay. And you said that you've got a couple of social outlets. What are those?
I have a YouTube channel for my own stuff, and I originally started it a couple years ago. A couple of the videos are just me kind of playing with the keyboard and messing around or playing with my guitar, and it's still in the horror kind of genre. I have a cool mask on, and I do a red light behind me, so it's kind of like that's how it started with those videos. And then I use software, so I take my recordings and I put them into MP4 forms, so I can put them onto YouTube or whatever, because you can't upload an audio file. It has to be in a video format. So that's where I'm going with that. And then I also have a band that is, right now it's just me and another guy, and we're looking for a drummer and maybe another guitar player to kind of round out the band. But we're going in a similar kind of horror, Black Sabbath meets John Carpenter kind of idea. We just had a, it's a very specific niche that we're trying to go for. So we've had trouble finding other people that really want to be into that and are into the whole horror thing.
Albany area. So with the band, are you looking to do like live rehearsals, or would you
We
be
do
open
practice.
to
We do
like
practice live every other Friday. We have practice. We're actually based out of, we're in the Syracuse area. I'm
okay,
from Albany originally, but
got
I moved out here just over a decade ago. I moved out here, and we've actually only been jamming together for maybe a year, and we do practice every other week, coming up with ideas, doing some basic recording. We have some videos on the YouTube channel
yeah.
of us doing some live stuff. So
So if you're in, if you're watching this and you're in the Syracuse area, a drummer or a guitarist that is into horror themed rock, I, i.e. Black Sabbath, may want to hit up Scott and you guys might be able to jam. You may even be able to open it up to, virtual, sending demos back and forth and just putting together something on tape, and see if there's a vibe there. Certainly couldn't hurt. Um,
yeah, I
but
have thought about that a little bit, but in the long run with the band, we're looking to start playing out. So we want to try and keep it a little
got
bit
it.
more localized. We don't, not necessarily playing out every week, but even if we can get out and play once a month or once every couple months,
Okay,
just to kind of, you know, get it in front of other people. So we do want to kind of keep it localized. We're not
got it.
necessarily opposed to somebody else, maybe if they're not in the immediate area, but are within the generalized area that wants to do some file sharing. That could be a possibility. But and then, for playing out, if as long as they're within an hour or so of here.
I mean, just whatever's convenient for everybody and whatever works for everybody. That makes a lot of sense, especially with kind of how you're viewing, doing shows, like once a month. That sounds more like somebody that needs to be relatively close.
Yeah.
So that makes a whole lot of sense. Well, cool. What questions do you have, Scott, for either myself or for the group that we might be able to help you on your journey?
We at this point we pretty much covered a lot of material that I had in my mind. We had talked before, so we kind of went over some stuff
Right.
generally then also. But basically, just like I said, getting my name out there, trying to find other people who can put me in the right direction as far as talking to people that I need to talk to, getting in front of my music in front of people it needs to be in front of. That kind of idea is where I'm going at right now. Taking it one step at a time, having a long-term end goal, but trying to make sure that on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, I'm making strides as far as little goals and little things to do to help progress me in the right direction.
That's really the key right there is progress, not perfection and not having 38 different things all in place before you start trying to make progress. It's just consistently making demos, consistently getting music out there. We did talk at length about some things that you'd be able to do or look into doing to getting the music out there into networking a little bit. And those kinds of things are just going to, increase your audience and increase the potential for you to get in contact with the right person. So I'm glad that you're looking at it in that sort of mind frame, and are being consistent with it. And I definitely would hope that we would be able to do another one of these, maybe in a couple of months, or
That would be
if
great.
there's something significant that happens in a couple of weeks, you just let me know, because I really like to, for everybody that does these interview type videos with us, I would love to see the progress. I'd love to be able to share the progress with everyone else to help motivate and inspire them to go out and do something that may be out of their comfort zone, something that they didn't think they'd be able to do, but because of your story and the other stories that we're going to hear, inspire them to say, you know what, let's do this thing and let's try it. Because in my humble opinion, there's not enough musicians out there making music and putting it out. So anything that we can do to improve, or not improve, but uh, increase the number of musicians that we've got there that are bringing their voice to the world, I think is never a bad idea. So if
Absolutely.
that's something you'd be willing to do, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh no, absolutely. We can definitely do that. But and it's funny that you say something about not striving for perfection or not expecting perfection or something like that. Perfection, because it's something that I've talked to with other musicians and people doing things, and it's a general consensus that you could practice something 100 times and nail it each and every one of those 100 times. But the minute you hit that record button, whether it be audio or video or whatever your plan that you have, it's perfect and it's ready to go. And you hit that record button, and the second you do that, you forget everything. It just goes
That's
right
why
out the window.
that's why you need a good producer that just tells everybody, all right, look, just start practicing and doing stuff, and he never doesn't hit the record button,
Yeah,
just so
no.
that you can get that take that they don't know is being recorded. So no,
What
you're absolutely right.
what's funny about that is a lot of the bands that I've been in the past, we always like to try and record every practice that we had, all of the practice, not just certain songs or like, hey, this sounds good, let's record this. Because not only was it good that you were recording everything to make sure that you could remember it, but it was good because you might have a different version of a song that actually sounds better. And that was sometimes how the music would start to evolve and become better, so to speak, because you were getting better ideas and you were recording better ideas each and every time.
Absolutely. And what's funny about that to me is, it, as we're talking about it, the first band that comes to mind is Metallica. Because
Mhm.
if you've seen any of the warm up and the rehearsals for the 72 Seasons tour that they've had out, I mean, there is I don't know if there was ever a time that these guys didn't record every rehearsal, every jam session, every warm up. I mean, yeah, there's even I distinctly remember one part of that video where they stopped recording for, I guess maybe changing the guitar out or something like that for Kirk, or maybe it was for um, Trujillo, but the they stopped recording and James starts playing a riff and Lars starts to freak out. He's like, whoa, 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 recording. We're not recording right now. He grabs his phone and hits record on it and just points it towards James because he understands that you can't waste, you can't let any moment not be put down on tape because of the potential that it could possibly have. And it's amazing to me that a band, that big still has that mentality with it. They're not just, they're not just, hey, we can wing it all day long at this point. We crap greatness. There's no
Right.
reason to have anything, in the back catalog to kind of pull from. Like it's still something that they realize is so important to capture as many of those moments as you possibly can.
I can actually remember specific moments of me many, many decades ago practicing and coming up with something. And not obviously back, 90s, you didn't have access to cell phones, you didn't have access to the recording devices that you do now. And it wasn't as easy to just sit down and record something like you do today. I mean, unless you wanted to carry around a tape recorder with you, which some people did.
Hey,
There's a lot of writers who do that. They carry around a tape recorder because they will instantly get an idea and want to make sure that they don't forget it and record it immediately. But I know for a fact that I have forgotten more music that I've written than I remember at this point. So
right. Again, I go back to, if anyone's ever seen, and if I've got this wrong, somebody, correct me in the comments, but I want to say that there's a moment in Metallica's live shit binge and purge uh, home video release that I used to have the box set for in cassette tape, or VHS tape rather. And there's a moment that he's driving in his truck and he's got a notepad on on the armrest, and he's writing lyrics as he's
Mhm.
driving. And they questioned him about it. He's like, you never know when inspiration's gonna come, so you've got to be ready.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's and that's that. I mean, to say to hear that from somebody of that caliber, and then to fast forward 30 some odd years and see that that's still the mentality that that band has, tells you the importance of just
Exactly.
little things like that, being ready to catch the inspiration, recording, you know, ridiculous stuff that you're doing. It may be throwaway, it may be background noise that actually is the thing that makes the song. You never know. So being prepared to capture that lightning in a bottle, it can't be overstated. So
No,
um
absolutely. It's very difficult. Like I find myself even sometimes sitting here at work and I'm just thinking about things and I'll actually write songs in my head and have to try and remember them so when I can get to a keyboard or a guitar or something later that I can kind of work out the specifics of, okay, this was the progression that I came up with and have it like stick. So I have to for a little while go over and over what's going on in my head.
that's why anyone with a passion to create music and is in a 9 to 5 that isn't directly connected to the music that you're trying to make needs it. I mean, we all know this. Those of us that feel that pull of music the way that other people probably don't. Like it's got to come out. It's got to be experienced. It's got to be put down in the way that that's in our head. And if you're working a 9 to 5 job, in my case, I'm a marketing director. It's like I like what I do, but it's not what I'm passionate about.
Sure,
And there's only
understandable.
so much time in your life. So if you're not working towards the goal like you are, then you need to get on it.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for doing this again. Everybody,
Yep.
I apologize that we don't have the original because it was just as good as this one. Scott, you're awesome. We're gonna try to get you #1 on the Face of Horror. I've got your links that I'm gonna put in the description, and we're gonna get this out to everybody today so that we can maximize the time that we have to potentially get you to see Kane Hodder. How about that?
That'd be awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we'll try
Thank
and
you,
set up
Scott, for being
something.
here. What's that?
We'll try and set up something maybe in a couple months, 2 or 3 months down the road to kind of see where we're at that point.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Everybody, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Let us know what you think about in the comments. Make sure that you go to Face of Horror and vote for Scott Davis. You get a free vote every single day, so there's no reason not to do it. Check out his music on the links in the description below, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.
Peace.